fact that Bo Nix is playing in it.
Yes. Sticking in the NFC East, how about them Cowboys? They picked up a huge win over the Lions Saturday night, but did not come without controversy after Jared Goff found Amon-Ra St. Brown to bring the score within one. The officials penalized Detroit on their first attempt for a two-point conversion when Goff completed a pass to lineman Taylor Decker. The officials claim Decker was ruled to be an ineligible receiver, but replays show that he actually spoke with one of the officials prior to the ball being snapped. Now, the Lions would go on to fail the two-point conversion and ultimately come up short as they lost 20-19. This was drama on Saturday night. What should be done after that controversial call that many say decided the game?
Listen, the officiating crew should not be allowed to be officiating in the NFL playoffs this year at a bare minimum. And I'm not, like, I get it. People have jobs. I'm not trying to, like, take people away from working for their, but it's the NFL. There's only going to be 14 teams that are in, so you do the math with when it comes to the games and the buys. Like, we have to have the best of the best. Yep. So for this crew and the way that this was mishandled, and certainly integrity is being questioned when it comes to this, not in the playoffs. I do think that the NFL at some point, and I love the NFL, has to look at this and be like, this can't be the best that we can do. Yep. Go back years ago when we're in a playoff game, the Saints and the Rams situation.
Can't have it.
Have we changed anything from that, really? Mm-hmm. We are far too advanced when it comes to, like, technology and communication to just sit here and allow stuff like this to happen and sit and go, well, you know, the referee said that number 70 reported and everybody else said 70 didn't report and 68 did. There's got to be something that the NFL can sit back and sit here and say, we do everything we can to have the best possible product. We pay billions of dollars for stadiums and fields. We pay players millions of dollars. The facilities and the care and the health, everything is to be the absolute best. But the officiating, both with the people that are in those roles and the operation that gets done. There has to be some mechanism that is put into place that doesn't bog the games down and doesn't chase perfection, but chases not having.
That's what's so hard about this one, though, Dan. It wasn't that sort of call.
What do you mean?
Right, like you look at the missed DPI in the NFC Championship with the Saints and the Rams.
Right.
There should have been some protocol that says, hell no, we are not going to allow this game to finish without fixing this. And those are things that you can do differently. You don't know this until after the play. So you go back retrospectively and fix this, because if he walks over to the Dallas Cowboys and says that 70 has reported eligible, I don't care how they line up on the backside. If I'm strong safety Donovan Wilson, I'm not covering Taylor Decker because he's not eligible, right? And so there's no way to go back on the back end and fix this. So you have to, in some way, the punishment or the consequence for, and no disrespect to this official at all, for the laziness he exhibited. Because it was laziness, right? Because there's an attention to detail that's supposed to go along with having that job. Sure. And just because Dan Skipper throughout the day has ran onto the field and reported as eligible doesn't mean that he's doing it now.
Sure.
So just because I see him running toward me, I can't take the shortcut of thinking I know what's going on.
Yeah.
What I have to do is look him in his eyes, hear him say, I'm reporting as eligible. He didn't do that. He started to run toward the line of scrimmage, basically looking over Taylor Decker, because that's what's happened the entire night, which, if I'm not dumb, that's the way they planned it. No doubt. If I'm the Detroit Lions. The entire day, you've seen Dan Skipper run in and report eligible. This one time, he's going to run in again, but Taylor Decker is going to be the guy eligible. But for the official to not listen, for the official to not have the conversation, for the official to not communicate the right way, is simply on him. Yeah. I'm not putting this part on the entire NFL. That's on him. And that's why the consequences need to be different.
Can I ask you a question as a defensive guy? What would be the downsides to getting rid of the whole report thing? Like, why do guys actually have to, shouldn't it be the job of a defensive player to see who is eligible and who isn't eligible?
Well, so think about that situation. The only way that Donovan Wilson would know that he's eligible is if you believe the receiver's off the ball,
right,
or you see the receiver off the ball. You can't ask him to see that when he's also only 2 people away from the center, right? Which is normally where the tackle lines up. He has a tackle number, which indicates this is the position I play, and now he's doing something different. You can't do that. You can't ask the players to do both things. Now, if every single play, that position or that person is eligible, then you're right. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it, but he's not. And so that's the difference, and that's the reason the rule is created, because now you have a person who has a number that indicates to the world, I'm an ineligible player that's now eligible.
Let's bring in Sam Acho, who's joining us from New Orleans. We'll be covering the Super Bowl.
I see you with them Texas colors, boy. I see you.
Let's go, boy. I'm in New Orleans, LSU. You know what happened last time, man. Hey, man, I'm representing, man. Harley home. Always repping, bro. Always repping.
Happy New Year. I'm sure you've been listening in on this conversation. What do you think should be done after that controversial call, which I know you saw on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and Dan, I hear totally what you're saying, RC as well, but my thing is this: shouldn't it be on Taylor Decker to make sure, right? Because you're not dumb. RC, you are not dumb. There was a little bit of trickery that took place on that play, even from the receiver who, as he was going up to the line of scrimmage, who was off the ball, he tried to slyly signal to the ref, hey, I'm off, and didn't make it obvious, right? They had someone stacked behind him to make it seem as if he were on the line of scrimmage. And I understand that Dan Campbell said to the referees before the game, this is what we are going to do. But shouldn't it be, maybe shouldn't's not the right word, but my expectation would be, hey, Taylor Decker, make sure, right beyond a shadow of a doubt, that referee heard you and make sure he knows it's you, that you said, hey, I am eligible, right? Because at that moment, if I'm a defensive player, all I hear is, hey, 70's eligible. So if because for a DB, it may be different. For a defensive end or outside linebacker, I may be in coverage. I'm looking at those tackles every single day, every single play. And so if I hear 70 is eligible, just from the secondary perspective, the second point I'm making is, well, then I don't have to worry about 68. But if I would have heard, and maybe this was some of the strategy, not the piece of not the referee not saying it, but hey, Taylor, you go over there to the ref, and then 70, you go to the ref as well, right? They were there at the same time. If I would have heard that 68 was eligible, my reaction as a defensive player would have been completely different. I would have been more privy to the fact of, hey, let me see. Oh, wow, the receiver's off the ball. Hey, I'm pointing. Like, that was one of our jobs. Hey, he's eligible. 68 is eligible. And so I think my main point is this. The referees, sure, they can have some sort of culpability, but if this is some sort of a trick play, right, some sort of an illusion, right, trying to make it seem as if one person is, one person isn't, then Taylor Decker, you must make sure beyond a shadow of a doubt that referee knows that you are in fact eligible. And for me, the fact that it seemed as if the Lions tried to confuse or deceive, if you will, in a good word, right, the Cowboys, they ended up confusing or deceiving, if you will, the referees in the fact that both
the other part of it is, if Taylor Decker is saying,
Dan, hold on,
I'm eligible, he believes that when the official runs away from him, he's going to tell the Dallas Cowboys that. So you're saying he needs some sort of acknowledgement from the official that, okay, you heard me, you know it's me, and you're saying this to the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm saying that if Taylor Decker is running up to the official, and then if another player, an offensive lineman, is also running to the official concurrently, the official, yes, you could say he should know who's saying it, but man, there's a lot going on in that place. Taylor Decker, remember, he was in the huddle first. Then remember, the quarterback said, hey, go and report. Then he goes to report, right? And then all this is happening at the same time. I'm not trying to take a lot of culpability off of the referee. I'm just saying this. I'm saying that Taylor Decker has to be the one to make sure that the referee knows what was said. From what I heard, Jared Goff said, hey, man, it was Taylor Decker who said he was eligible, but then they reported 70. If they report 70, if they report somebody else, that means the defense is thinking someone else is eligible.
No, you're right.
So my point
you're right about that part.
Yeah,
but to take it off of the official, I mean, what do you want Taylor Decker to do? Jumping jack like, hey, guys, it's me.
First of all, you're implying that he didn't do that. We're making this assumption that Taylor didn't do that. Right.
Sure, but how do we know that he did? And the only reason I say that
using our eyeballs.
you're inferring it.
Using our eyeballs, the official
I'm
basically looks
yeah.
at him and makes some type of acknowledgement that if you're the official and you've been notified that in that situation this is going to happen, what the freak do you think Taylor Decker's walking over to you to tell you?
I thought you was about to curse. I thought you.
What do you want him to do? So we have 25 seconds to actually get this done. Of course you want some form of deception. That's the whole point of it. It's to go get the freaking win.
It's the reason Panay Sewell was standing over there as well.
So now I need to go, hey, like that's like Cassidy telling RC and I, hey guys, when I come out of the break here, I'm gonna immediately go to you guys, and we come out of break and she comes to us and both of us don't talk. She told us what she was gonna do. So we gotta be an adult at some point.
Man.
Like this is on the officiating crew.
I agree.
And they should not be a part of the playoffs.
Agreed.
Yeah, they were told from what we were told from Dan Campbell, they were told before the game, we're assuming that Dan said, hey, on our 2-point conversion, when we're down by 1, the very end of the game, we're going to do the situation. We don't know when he said the situation was going to come. Coaches tell referee, they alert referees to things that'll happen at some point in the game. Sometimes they happen, sometimes
I guarantee you, he said, if we go for a 2-point conversion, this is exactly what we are going to do.
I agree.
We're going to walk Panay Sewell over. Dan Skipper is going to come on the field late. Taylor Decker is going to walk over you. He is the only one that is going to be reporting. We are going to throw a pass to Taylor Decker. That's exactly what happened.
And you know what also happened before that play? There was a different 2-point conversion that was attempted to be run, and a timeout was called. So, like, different things can happen in certain situations. I'm not trying to absolve the ref. I'm not trying to do that. But I am saying that Taylor Decker, there is a point where it's like, hey, maybe you get there earlier, right? Maybe our plan, right, if somebody's running in late, or if you're late, something could happen, right? You practice things all the time, but you have to make sure. I'm not saying, maybe, I don't know what the acknowledgement is, right? Usually it's like, hey, 68 reported eligible, but you have to be sure that he heard, right? We're assuming that, yeah, Taylor went, like you made a point, Dan, on a breakdown you did, I think it was yesterday, of saying, hey, what other reason would Taylor Decker walk over to the official? Like, what other reason? Well, dude, I've walked over to the officials before, right, to have a conversation. Or maybe another reason is, hey, let me make sure something's going on. We don't know why. Maybe the reason was so they don't know which of the players is going to report eligible. Now you have 2 guys standing at the referee, and we're all assuming that the referee didn't. Go ahead.
If Dan Skipper doesn't say anything, Dan Skipper running toward the official shouldn't give him the inclination that Dan Skipper is reporting eligible. If Taylor Decker is standing in front of him and saying reporting eligible, then that's who he should be paying attention to. That's what's important. What happened was Dan Skipper had reported eligible early on in the game. When he saw Dan Skipper running toward him, which you're right, it's part of the deception, correct? We've seen the official walk over to the Dallas Cowboys and say during the game, 70's reporting eligible. So what we're going to do is not only have Panay Sewell stand next to the official as Taylor Decker declares eligible, we're going to run Dan Skipper onto the field so it feels exactly the same as it has all year. And now I know we don't necessarily have this tape, but if you remember when the play starts, Panay Sewell is actually extended from the line of scrimmage because he was the player that was standing next to Taylor Decker.
Correct.
So now it can create some more or some sort of confusion for the defense. All of it was a ruse. But what's not is the fact that Taylor Decker, on the behest of Jared Goff, walked over to this man to check in, to be eligible. And it is his job. It is what he is paid for. It is what we expect him to do because his decisions change careers. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, who weren't going to be able to host the second-round playoff game, now have an opportunity to do so. The Dallas Cowboys, who would have had to see the San Francisco 49ers, who's been beating their face in for the last 3 years, now ain't got to see them to the NFC Championship. That changed the course of so many lives and careers based on you not doing your job. You asked me to do mine, and I did it. I walked over to you.
Right.
Dan Campbell, I told you before the game.
But Ryan.
Now do yours.
RC, but I agree with you on 99.9% of what you said, right?
Well, why are you
Part of your job is
caping?
walking over, right? Check me out. Check me out, RC. Part of your job is walking over. And my eye popped out, so we're about to talk for a little bit. The other part of your job is actually going in. It's a ruse. It's a disguise. This is part of deception. This is part of football. This is what we do. You see people flank down, people run to the sideline. Remember that thing with Mike McDaniel and back when Washington was like, hey, man, go, 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 right? This is the thing that people do. And so part of it is this, hey, I know there's going to be some deception, so you have to make sure, do it subtly. I don't care how you do it. But beyond a shadow of a doubt, make sure he knows that it's you. I'm not saying, make sure you go over there and tell him, hey, 68 is eligible. That's what's going on. And so my piece is this. Yes, your job is to go and to walk over to the ref. But it's also your job to make sure the ref, to have the ref hear you, make sure he knows or whatever.